Hey everyone, welcome to Alpha Bard Scientist. Imagine you wake up feeling tired, your body aches, and your thermometer reads 38.8 degrees Celsius. For many people, the first thing they do is reach for a paracetamol tablet to bring the fever down. But have you ever stopped to ask why we get a fever in the first place? Is a fever simply a symptom of being sick, or does it actually serve a purpose? And if lowering a fever makes us feel better, could it also affect the way our body responds to an infection? To answer these questions, we first need to understand what a fever really is. What is a fever? I think many of you will think that viruses or bacteria directly cause a fever. In reality, they don't. A fever is a controlled response produced by your own body. It occurs when the brain intentionally raises the body's temperature set point during an infection. Normal body temperature is often said to be 37 degrees Celsius, but it naturally varies between people and even changes throughout the day. In adults, a fever is generally defined as a body temperature of 38 degrees Celsius or higher. It's also important to distinguish a fever from overheating. During heat stroke, body temperature rises because the body cannot get rid of heat effectively. During a fever, however, the brain actively tells the body to become warmer. So, how does the brain know when to do that? How does a fever develop? When bacteria, viruses, or other pathogens enter the body, the immune system is the first to respond. Immune cells recognize these invading microorganisms and release signaling proteins called cytokines, including interleukin-1, interleukin-6, and tumor necrosis factor alpha. These cytokines travel through the bloodstream to a region of the brain called the hypothalamus, which regulates body temperature. The hypothalamus then increases the production of a molecule called prostaglandin E2, or PGE2. PGE2 raises the body's temperature set point. At that moment, your body may still be at its normal temperature, but your brain now thinks it's too cold. To reach the new target temperature, your body begins conserving and producing heat. Blood vessels near the skin become narrower to reduce heat loss. Your muscles start shivering to generate warmth. You may even feel cold and reach for a blanket, even though your body temperature is already rising. Once the new set point is reached, you have a fever. Why does the body cause a fever? If fever makes us feel uncomfortable, why would the body produce one? Research suggests that fever may provide several advantages during an infection. Some bacteria and viruses reproduce most efficiently within a relatively narrow temperature range. A higher body temperature can slow the growth of certain pathogens, although this effect varies depending on the type of microorganism. Fever also influences the immune system itself. Studies have shown that elevated temperatures can improve the movement of white blood cells toward infected tissues and enhance communication between immune cells. Some immune functions become more efficient at slightly higher temperatures. This means a fever is not simply a symptom of illness. It is an active physiological response coordinated by the immune system and the brain. However, fever also comes at a cost. Producing extra heat requires energy. Your heart beats faster, your metabolism increases, and you may feel tired, weak, or lose your appetite because your body is directing more of its resources toward fighting the infection. So, should you take paracetamol? Now let's return to the original question. If fever is part of the body's defense, should we lower it? To answer that, we first need to understand what paracetamol actually does. Paracetamol does not kill viruses or bacteria. Instead, it reduces the production of prostaglandin E2, the same molecule responsible for raising the body's temperature set point. As PGE2 levels decrease, the hypothalamus resets the body's target temperature back toward normal. Your blood vessels widen, sweating increases, and excess heat is released. As a result, your temperature falls and you usually feel more comfortable. Researchers have investigated whether reducing a fever affects recovery from infections. The findings are mixed. Some studies suggest that fever supports certain immune functions and may help the body respond to infection. Other studies have found that reducing fever improves comfort without clearly changing recovery time for most common illnesses. At present, scientific evidence does not provide a simple answer that lowering every fever is always beneficial or always harmful. The effect may depend on factors such as the cause of the infection, the severity of the fever, a person's age, and their overall health. So, should you take paracetamol when you have a fever? Science tells us that a fever is not simply something that happens because you're sick. It is a carefully regulated response produced by your immune system. Paracetamol can reduce fever and help relieve discomfort, but it does not treat the infection itself. Whether lowering a fever is beneficial in every situation remains an area of ongoing research, and the answer is not always the same for every person or every illness. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this evidence-based explanation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.